Now we will come to how to write a good multiple choice test questions. As we know, multiple choice test questions are also known as items and they can be effective and efficient way to assess learning outcomes. They have several advantages. A multiple choice item consists of a problem known as the stem and the list of suggested solutions known as the alternatives. The alternatives consist of one correct or best alternative, which is the answer, and the incorrect alternative is known as the distractor. While constructing an MCQ, certain things have to be kept in mind. That is, the stem has to be effective. The stem should be meaningful by itself and should present a definite problem. A stem that presents a definite problem allows a focus on the learning outcome. A stem that does not present a clear problem, however, may test students' ability to draw inferences from vague descriptions rather than serving as more direct test of students' achievement of the learning outcome. So here in this example you can see the stem is not meaningful because it only states which of the following is a true statement. And you can see in option A, B and C, mitochondrial genomes are relatively constant in content, that is type of genes present. The options are also very lengthy and they have too many words. But the same example can be modified in a better way and the stem can be effectively constructed in the following manner. You can see the stem is now written as what characteristic is relatively constant in mitochondrial genomes across species. And you can see the options A, B and C are given in a very specific and concise manner. The stem should not contain irrelevant material as it decreases the reliability and the validity of the test scores. Irrelevant material. Example, you can see mitochondria evolved from free living bacteria should carry our oxidative phosphorylation, etc. So all these above information which is given in the stem is unnecessary and it is not relevant to the actual question which is supposed to ask, the actual outcome that is supposed to be measured. So it will create confusion and hence it decreases the reliability and validity of the test scores. Another thing you have to keep in mind while constructing the stem should be negatively stated only when significant learning outcomes require it. Example, students often have difficulty understanding items with negative phrasing. If a significant outcome requires negative phrasing such as identification of dangerous laboratory or clinical practices, the negative element should be emphasized with italics or capitalization. You can see in the above example, negative phrasing, which of the following is not true about mitochondria? One is they contain DNA, second is they make some of their own proteins, and third is they are static. Now you can see in this negative phrasing, all of the following are true about mitochondria except they contain DNA, they make their own protein and they are static. In this way, you have to be careful when you're constructing an MCQ with a negative phrasing. You can see there's an example given for a better use of negative phrasing. A water type extinguisher is suitable for putting out a fire caused by burning all of the following except alcohol, cotton, paper, wood. So in this kind of MCQ, you can see the negative phrasing is used in the following manner. The next part of the construction of an effective MCQ, we have studied now about stem. Now we have to be careful is about how you construct the alternatives. They are also of equal importance. The items that are excessively wordy assess students' reading ability rather than their attainment of the learning objective. So you should avoid that. You can see in this example, the term hypothesis are used in research is defined as conception or proposition framed by speculation or deduction or by extraction and generalization from facts, explaining or relating, and so it is very wordy. So you have to avoid the alternatives being too wordy, otherwise it will create confusion and the students' assessment of the learning objective may be affected. So the alternative should be clearly and concisely stated. The next thing you have to remember about the alternatives are alternatives should be homogeneous in content. Alternatives that are heterogeneous in content can provide cues to student about the correct answer. Like for example, which of the following is one of the ways that the membrane of winter wheat are able to remain fluid when it is extremely cold? By increasing the percentage of cholesterol, by decreasing the percentage of unsaturated phospholipids, by decreasing the percentage of short chain fatty acids, by increasing the percentage of saturated phospholipids in the membrane. 4 alternatives are given. Because the option A focuses on a different type of molecule, cholesterol, then the items B, C and D, it can cue savvy test takers to the correct answer. So it can provide a clue sort of, by seeing that 3 are homogeneous and 1 is heterogeneous. So naturally the heterogeneous one has to be the right answer. Another thing you have to remember about alternatives is that they should be free from clues about which response is correct. So it is important that alternatives should have grammar consistent with the stem. They should be similar in length and they should use similar language. The alternatives all of the above and none of the above should not be used. When all of the above is used as an answer, test takers who can identify more than one alternative as correct can select the correct answer even if unsure about the other alternatives. Yes, so all of the above when it is used. So if you have 3 answers and one answer and the fourth one is all of the above, and even if you know 2 answers as correct, then naturally even before looking at the third alternative you are going to tick mark on the all of the above. So it will affect the validity of the MCQ. And another thing is about none of the above. It is used as an alternative. Test takers who can eliminate a single option can thereby eliminate in a second option. In either case, students can use partial knowledge to arrive at the correct answer. The alternatives should be presented in a logical order to avoid bias towards certain positions. So you can see that the order of the alternatives also has to be logical. So you can't all the time you cannot keep the correct answer on the third position. So the student will guess it and they will try to mark on the third option as the right answer. So you have to keep on changing. It has to be randomly placed. I am sure that both these videos on how to prepare MCQs have enriched the teachers to prepare MCQs effectively, and as well as it must have given an idea to the students that what kind of questions they should expect in an MCQ examination.